Hey everybody, welcome to today's video, and boy, we need to talk about Jack Hughes because the Jack Hughes redemption tour is well underway this season for the New Jersey Devils and for Jack Hughes, and man, he has looked absolutely phenomenal to start this year, and it really looks like Jack Hughes has finally arrived at the NHL level and is really ready to break out and become the player that everyone expected him to be when he was taken first overall. So before we get into it, I just ask that you please subscribe and hit that thumbs up button. Both of those things help out so much and are greatly appreciated. But let's start talking about Jack Hughes because, man, this kid took a ton of flack last season because he didn't have a great rookie year. The word bust was thrown around so much after just one season for Jack Hughes, which I personally think is absolutely ridiculous and just idiotic. Because the kid was 18 years old, and the thing that people need to realize is that even if you're a first overall pick, you still need to develop. The word development is such a lost word in the NHL these days, where everyone just expects these top draft picks to come in and immediately be superstars like Connor McDavid and Austin Matthews, when in reality, that's just not realistic. That's not how it's going to go most of the time. And we saw that with Jack Hughes. He struggled in his first NHL season. He only had 21 points. He only had 7 goals. He was minus 26 on a really, really bad New Jersey team last year. But he was a kid. He was literally 18. He was still a teenager. And fans need to realize that it takes time for some of these kids to get acclimated to the NHL and to get used to NHL action and really start to thrive in an NHL environment. Hughes wasn't able to do that at all last season, but to start this year, he looks like a whole new player, and he looks like he's going to be at the top of his game and really continuing to grow and get better. This is for a general rule of thumb, and I've said this on the channel a lot, you have to give a player at least 3 years. 3 seasons before you can start actually calling them a bust. And anyone who calls someone a bust before they've seen them for at least 3 seasons is just being way too premature with it and doesn't understand how development of a player actually works. And Jack Hughes now is a great example of that. If you look at what he did last season, he wasn't very good. There's no doubt about it. But he was small, and he was coming out of the U.S. development program where he wasn't playing big physical players. He was the best player on the ice growing up for probably his entire teenage years. And then he gets to the NHL, and all of a sudden, everyone's as fast as you, everyone's as smart as you, everyone's as quick as you. And a lot of the guys in the NHL are a heck of a lot bigger and stronger than Jack Hughes. And it was a wake-up call, and it was a tough adjustment for Jack Hughes. And I don't think he was physically NHL ready last year. I think he got pushed to the NHL a year too soon, and he wasn't physically ready yet to be an NHL player. The speed was there, the skill was there, but the body wasn't. And what we've seen this year is that Jack Hughes looks like a much, much stronger player this year than what he was last season, and I think that's the main contributor to his success. His skating was always there, the skill level was always there, but he is so much stronger looking this season than what he was last year, and he must have spent a ton of time this offseason in the gym, putting on muscle, getting stronger, because now he looks like he can physically handle the NHL, which he did not look like last year. When I think of small forwards whose size isn't really a detriment to them, the first guy that comes to mind to me is Brayden Point, a smaller player who everyone on the ice pretty much is bigger than, but it doesn't feel like it when he plays, and it doesn't look like it when he plays. And Brayden Point played his junior hockey in the WHL, which is the biggest, toughest, and most physical of the major junior leagues in Canada. So all through juniors, Brayden Point was playing against big, physical, tough defensemen who really got him ready for the NHL. And even then, he played in the minors a little bit and continued to develop. And Brayden Point just didn't jump right into the NHL as a teenager and be a superstar. He played through juniors for a few years. He played in the minors. And then he came up with Tampa Bay. And now look at what Brayden Point has turned into, one of the best top-line centers in the league. even as a smaller guy, and he learned how to physically handle himself against those big, strong players. Jack Hughes didn't play in the WHL. Jack Hughes never got that development to play against those big, tough guys the way that a guy like Braden Point did. So what happened with Jack Hughes is he played for the U.S. national team, and then he just got thrown into the NHL. No AHL time, no real, major junior time, no college time. He just got thrown into the NHL. So his development, or his trying to learn how to play against bigger and stronger players that Braden Point got in the WHL and that he got in the AHL, Jack Hughes had to do it at the NHL level. He just got thrown into the NHL and had to learn that on the fly in the NHL. And he wasn't ready physically last season, and he didn't get adjusted to the NHL and the physicality of it and how much bigger and stronger these players that he was going to be going against were going to be. And I mean, he was playing against defensemen who were 30, 40 pounds heavier than him, and they were just physically dominating Jack Hughes. We're not seeing that this year. That's why this offseason, Hughes must have made a concerted effort to get stronger, because he looks so much bigger and stronger on the ice this season. And he looks NHL ready this season. He's got 7 points in his first 5 games. He's got at least 1 point in 4 out of New Jersey's first 5 games. He has 2 multi-point games already this season. I don't know how many multi-point games Hughes had last year out of the 61 that New Jersey played, but in 5 games to start this year, he already has 2 multi-point games, and he's over a point per game player, and he's a plus player as well, with a +3 plus minus, which means he's not on the ice a lot for goals against like he was last season when he was -26. So everything has been significantly better for Jack Hughes this year. Jack Hughes has arrived, and the redemption tour for, to make up for his tough rookie season is well underway here for Jack Hughes and the New Jersey Devils. And he looks like a totally different player, and such an improved and better player than what he was last year. And I think it all has to do with maturity. It all has to do with strength and really getting his, used to the NHL game and growing into his body, getting stronger, and getting acclimated to the physicality of the NHL game. And he's able to go to the net. He's able to win board battles. He's able to, just handle himself physically in ways that he was not strong enough to do last season. And Jack Hughes is now NHL ready. I don't think he was NHL ready last year. He is now NHL ready, and you're going to see him keep developing and grow into that star player that he was meant to be when he was picked first overall. And this is just a great example of development. And there are going to be more bumps in the road. Jack Hughes isn't going to have, probably an 80-point season this year. He may not even be a point per game player over the course of this entire season. He's off to a really good start. He may finish with only 35, 40 points. But the key here is development. It's getting better. It's growing. And that's a lost art sometimes in the NHL, because so many, fans just expect players to come in and be superstars right away, and that's just not going to happen a majority of the time. So it's all about development. It's all about getting better, and it's all about growth with Jack Hughes, and we're seeing significant growth this season, significant better play, and he's taking his time to develop and grow at his pace, and now he looks much, much better after getting a year under his belt. And now in his second season, he looks like he's fully ready to go and be that high-end player. And hopefully next year, his third season, he's even better than what he is this season. So you just want to see that continue, taking the next step and taking the next step until he becomes a full-blown superstar player. So remember, guys, 3 years at least before you can drop the bust word on somebody, because development is an art and it takes time, and it's something that a lot of fans don't have the patience for, but you need to have the patience for, because it really is important, and most players need time to develop and can't just jump into the NHL and be a superstar right away like Connor McDavid and Auston Matthews were able to do. That's just not normal. It's not how it usually goes. So Hughes seems to be developing nicely. He's off to a fantastic start this season, and the Jack Hughes redemption tour well underway. A ton of credit to this kid for all the offseason work that he must have done, because he is ready to go for this season, and I can't wait to see how this entire year goes for him. And then if he can continue to grow and take an even bigger step next offseason and really become the superstar player that he's supposed to be. So it was way too early to give up on Jack Hughes. He didn't have a great rookie season, but development is key. He looks much, much better this season, and I can't wait to see him continue to get better and continue to develop and become the player that he was supposed to when he was drafted first overall. So like, comment, share, subscribe, follow on social media. All those links are down in the description. If you'd like to further support the channel, the links to our Patreon merchandise store and donation link are down in the description as well. Keep spreading the word about this channel. Let's keep this thing growing. Thank you very much for watching. Hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll talk to you guys soon.